Shut up!
I just wanted to say hi to
Shut up! Face the wall. Turn around. Turn around. Good sudden movement, sir. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
Yeah. And you weren't really sparring. You were fighting. We were fighting all the time. And just guys getting dropped all the time. And that was just the kind of gym that I was in.
But this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
Joe Rogan responded to rumors surrounding Jake Paul, including claims about scripted boxing matches and possible legal trouble. Rogan made it clear that no achievement or moment of fame is worth risking your life. He stressed that boxing is a serious and dangerous sport that should never be taken casually. According to discussions around the situation, Rogan feels that Jake Paul needs to seriously rethink his choices before entering the ring again. He warned that chasing money or attention through higher-risk fights can lead to long-term damage that simply isn't worth it. Jake Paul has been at the center of multiple controversies in recent months, and this has only added more fuel to the conversation. Rogan strongly highlighted that continuing to fight without caution can result in severe consequences. He also cautioned that taking part in illegal practices such as fixing or scripting fights could bring serious legal trouble for any fighter involved.
Because then you can't think, you can't do things, you don't know what the fuck you're doing in life. It's like literally everything is the quality of your ability to think. And I knew.
Nikisa Badarian stated that neither Jake Paul nor his team was involved in any misconduct or attempt to manipulate the fight. He responded to the circulating rumors that the match against Anthony Joshua was staged, saying those claims are completely untrue. Nikisa pointed out that online users spread shocking accusations, including claims that there was an agreement preventing Joshua from knocking out Paul. He explained that Joshua fought honestly and decisively, without following any supposed deal. Nikisa stressed that Jake prepared seriously, stepped into the ring, and accepted real risks during the fight. He also mentioned that legal steps are being taken against people who continue to spread these false stories. According to Nikisa, clearing this up is important to safeguard the reputations of Jake and his team, and to make it clear to fans and critics that the fight was real, unscripted, and that any idea of a fixed result has no basis.
I've seen the script, rigged, this, that, and the other. Do you think now, at the very least, that talk goes away? Broke his jaw, went in there against Anthony Joshua. At the very least, do you think that you guys can move on from that? Like, that won't follow you?
No, I don't. I actually, our lawyers are actively going after a number of people. One who claims to be a lawyer himself online. I don't remember the name or the handle, but it was something that had like 200,000 likes. And basically this post said there was an agreement for AJ not to knock out Jake, but AJ disregarded the agreement and decided to not get his payday, but knock out Jake Paul. So it's pretty astonishing what people say. Your dear friend Lou DiBella, saw him put up a bunch of ridiculous things and even said, Nikisa, go ahead and sue me, but this wasn't a real fight. He was pulling punches. He wasn't giving it his full effort.
And so for the people, again, just to clear this up, because I asked Eddie this question, I'll ask you the exact same question. Once and for all, was there any sort of arrangement as far as it should go this many rounds? Because that's the one that I've heard. Oh, Anthony agreed to 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Can you tell us in black and white if there were any talks of any kind between the network, the promotion, the fighter?
There has never once in Jake Paul's career been any talk of that sort, of anything to do with the fight being anything but a real fight that has exactly the same situation as any professional fight. And that's exactly the same thing here for the Anthony Joshua fight. It's just beyond mind-blowing that people would think that. Anthony Joshua was on record saying that if he didn't finish him in the first round, that would be disappointing, that it would be a failure. The narrative changed as we got closer to fight night and obviously post-fight, and I understand why, but they were pretty adamant it would take max 2 rounds.
Rogan has previously warned Jake Paul not to repeat any reckless behavior. He urged him to think carefully before accepting high-risk boxing matches, stating that no achievement is worth putting one's life in danger. Rogan emphasized that the risks inside the ring are very real. Chasing fame or money through staged or dangerous fights can lead to serious consequences. He made it clear that safety and responsibility should always be the top priority for any fighter.
Look at all them celebrities like
dude from the Mighty Ducks, the little boy actor that got strung out on drugs. And all his fronts and all his teeth were missing from being on meth or whatever, you know what I mean, whatever drug of choice he was on. There's no coming back from that. The people who like dissipate their teeth through drug usage, you don't get like a second set. So if I'm not mistaken, the dude from Mighty Ducks, somebody like he's been clean and they gave him a makeover and he has like pretty much fake teeth. So yeah, the teeth are going to be cooked. Now, I agree with the other part that Rogan was saying, but let's keep going.
Yeah, I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen, and ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it, and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah, and I've already expressed my thoughts on this. I'm not giving no props for a person who says I am a real deal boxer because I went in and get smashed and got my jaw broken, but I lasted longer than Ngannou. But I was crazy enough to try, because to be honest, we're way past the honeymoon stage with a person like Jake Paul. You've been in this for long enough to go through fight camps, dedicate your time, effort, energy, money, spar with people. You spar with some quality names because you have resources and money or whatever. So we're well past that, to the point where you just get credit for stepping in. You maybe got credit your first fight or whatever, first couple of fights, for coming from your background and, you know, stepping in and fighting, but we're well past that. You have a box rec. You were being ranked by sanctioning bodies.
For Eddie Hearn shared a detailed breakdown of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. Focusing on the strategy behind each moment in the ring, he explained that the match unfolded exactly as planned, with Joshua's team choosing patience and controlled pressure instead of wild attacks. The goal was to steadily challenge Jake Paul, reveal openings, and drain his endurance before landing decisive shots. Hearn highlighted that this calculated approach represents true professional boxing, where discipline, timing, and smart tactics matter more than raw power. He noted that every stage of the fight was designed to maintain control while gradually establishing dominance. According to Hearn, this strategy not only led to the win, but also demonstrated boxing as a thoughtful and intelligent sport, where precise execution and well-timed decisions distinguish experienced fighters from beginners.
Before the fight, I'm going to break him down and then I'm going to knock him out. And that's exactly what he did. I thought it'd be all over within 3 rounds. But, you know, when I got in the ring after, because I was shouting, just, you know, anywhere, arms. I got in, he went, what are you rushing me for? And I was like, oh, sorry. So, but like, obviously he knows what he's doing. And actually now quite pleased that we got the rounds, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw you said that. Really random, I was on Twitter and I saw Jake Paul's mom said she wants to get in the ring and punch you. She said she doesn't like the smug look on your face. She is promoting her book, so I'm not sure if she wants, you know. But did you see that? What did you think of that?
No, I was very sad, because I couldn't have been nicer and more respectful of Jake and what he's done. And I think Logan's amazing. I think he's an incredible athlete. And I shook Jake Paul's dad's hand in the ring, you know. And if I would have seen Mum, I would have said, all right. But I think over the years, we've obviously had our beef, and she probably don't like me anyway. And I am probably a little bit smug. I wasn't smug after the fight, because I would have been more smug if it was all over in a round. Yeah. So, no, I'll give Jake respect. And, yeah. Sorry, Jake's mum doesn't like me, but if she can send me...
Adam Catterall offered a direct and honest evaluation of the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, pointing to the imbalance that can occur in modern boxing when popularity drives matchups. He argued that Jake Paul's fast rise in the sport is largely the result of his social media fame and celebrity appeal, rather than deep technical ability or long-term in-ring experience. According to Catterall, even while holding back his full power, Anthony Joshua showed clear control, sharp timing, and accuracy, landing punches that caused real damage and exposed the wide gap in skill between the two fighters. This contrast led to speculation that certain elements of the bout may have been shaped by outside influences rather than pure sporting competition. Reports suggested that Jake Paul may have tried to control the pace of the fight to reduce risk. and protect his image, reflecting broader concerns about celebrity boxing, prioritizing spectacle over authenticity. Catterall's remarks highlight how hype-driven events can weaken competitive integrity, shifting focus away from skill, strategy, and the traditional principles of professional boxing.
Own credibility, I've got to knock you out, but I've got to try and knock you out where I'm not hurting you as much as what I could if I unleashed. Yeah. And with the punch you said that he landed, it's not his best punch, it's his most powerful punch, right? Yep. And he's shattered his jaw in 2 places, right? So Anthony Joshua gets his 70 million, whatever it is. But I think he's sitting there thinking, thank God for that. Thank God. On a human level, I've come out, all right, I've sort of, not reputation, but I haven't hurt him as bad as what I could have.
There should be an awful amount of people breathing a massive sigh of relief. Anybody that put that fight together, athletic commissions, like you said.
It wasn't a fight.
No, it wasn't at all. Like you said, it was a prize fight. It was an event. If Anthony damages him, he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of stress to deal with, you know what I mean? So I'm sure he's bleeding the side of relief. The team that have put him in there, that have negotiated that for him, but the authorities that put that on and commissioned it as a proper boxing match, I've no doubt.
Does that go on his...
Yeah, it's a professional boxing.
Do you know what? If I was Anthony Joshua, I would be saying, I don't want that on my record.
Well,
but for the credibility of them putting the fight on, they would have said to him, no, we've got to say this. It's been commissioned. It's going to be a proper fight. And I found it... I love my boxing, but I just find the whole thing really, really unedifying. You said about get followers. You mentioned Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is nowhere near his level of getting like a British title fight or whatever. Nowhere near. So it's basically he's like...
Beat Jake Paul.
Well, beat Jake Paul. But so
but what I'm saying is that's 100. I stand by that, and I think Tommy would admit that. You know what I mean? To become a British champion is a very prestigious thing to do. And I think
Sam Jones gave a blunt and unfiltered response to the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight, saying it was difficult to watch not because of violent exchanges, but due to obvious technical shortcomings. He noted that Jake Paul struggled with core boxing fundamentals such as defense, foot placement, and reacting effectively to Joshua's combinations. These ongoing issues created a clear imbalance throughout the bout and exposed the gap in experience and skill. Some viewers felt certain moments looked almost staged, as if the pace and action were subtly controlled to reduce risk for both fighters. While Jake Paul clearly invested time in training, Jones suggested that the difference in ability and ring awareness, combined with hints of managed pacing, led to an uncomfortable viewing experience for those expecting real competitive intensity. The fight highlighted the dangers of blending celebrity-driven appeal with professional-level boxing, showing how entertainment can sometimes take priority over skill and authenticity, leaving fans questioning the legitimacy of such matchups.
Joshua knocking out and breaking Jake Paul's jaw. Just talk to me right now about the fight itself and then we'll break it down.
Bit of a crap fight, if we're all honest. It was like watching Jaws 2 when all the kids went out on their boats and they were in the middle of the sea and the shark was just surrounding the boat, just like that's what it was like. It was just like a shark circling its prey and just like it was like nibbling and eventually got him. But Jake Paul showed big plums in there, no matter what anybody says about him, because I've seen people say, yeah, he went in there to survive. Yeah, okay, he went in there to survive. He's a guy that's been boxing a couple of years against a unified champion of the world who can really punch. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best fight. It just wasn't the best thing to watch, was it? Like it was just, it weren't great. I just want to see now Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. I think at the stages of their careers they're at, AJ and Tyson Fury, we don't need to see interim fights, Andrew. We don't need to see interim fights because they're just potential banana skins. We want to see two of the best heavyweights of this era going at it.
After the fight, Luke Thomas spoke out critically, questioning the praise Jake Paul received. He stressed that facing a world-class boxer like Anthony Joshua shouldn't be celebrated without careful examination. Thomas argued that the hype around the match often overshadowed the real risks involved. Some observers noted that Paul's pre-fight confidence and certain in-ring actions fueled speculation that he may have attempted to script parts of the bout. Thomas cautioned that applauding such events could set a risky precedent, blurring the distinction between genuine competition and entertainment.
It kind of feeds into the story of him being perhaps a little bit better than we sometimes think, although I don't really co-sign on that. Let me make the point. The first point is, I think people are overreacting a little bit. People were suggesting when I got on social media that this was like the biggest farce they'd ever seen in their life, and that this was, how could he fight like this, and this was a disaster, and Joshua should have got him out there earlier. There is probably some evidence to suggest that I don't think Joshua was carrying him in the sense of, hey, they coordinated this ahead of time. But was Joshua really stepping on the gas? No, I don't think he was really stepping on the gas. There were times I think he clearly pulled his punches, partly because Jake was squirmy and rotating on the outside. Also in part because I think, as I indicated on Friday, he's watching this guy with pretty bad footwork. He was literally tripping over himself, and he realized he just can't keep this up. So there was that. But people were acting like, how could this be? How could this have happened? Guys, on Friday's MK, and then before that, earlier in the week on Submission Radio, they asked me on Submission Radio, how do you think he's gonna fight? And I'm like, he's gonna run. And they're like, you don't think he's gonna clinch? I'm like, okay, he'll clinch at times, but then the rest of the time he's going to run. What other way was this going to go? What other way was this?
HL. Sonnen delivered pointed criticism of the fight, emphasizing that matches like this are far too dangerous to occur under normal circumstances. He described the bout as feeling less like a genuine boxing contest and more like a struggle for survival, with both physical and reputational stakes running dangerously high. Sonnen stressed that inexperienced fighters stepping into the ring with elite professionals put themselves at serious risk. The rumored scripting by Jake Paul, combined with these higher-risk matchups, amplifies the concern. Analysts observed that Paul's approach in the fight was unusually cautious at times, sparking questions about his intentions. While some viewed this as careful strategy, others suggested certain sequences seemed choreographed, allowing Joshua to dominate without extreme danger. This appears to align with reports that Paul may have tried to control the pace and flow of the fight, to protect himself while maintaining entertainment value.
These guys fought. That was not a boxing match. It just wasn't. Jake Paul had a very healthy fear for his life while he was in there, and he was moving as such. He was staying away from him. He was running away. He was trying to get distance. Then he was trying to step in to win this athletic competition, and then he's trying to get out of the way so that he doesn't get hurt again. He was fighting. Then it turns to where he can't stay away anymore. So now he's got to go the other way. He's got to go forward. So now he's clinched him. Now he's dropping down to his knees. He's going below the waist. He's getting to double leg positions. He was fighting. These guys were fighting. Jake was fighting for his survival, and you could so see it. You could see this animal who's been caged and is just trying to make it through, not even kill its prey, just make it through. And it was incredible. It was really incredible. So on the back end, some of the comments that I made or that I had heard were so confusing to me. It was a very good competition. I will tell you, it breaks my heart too that Anthony Joshua can't get him out of there in one round. Dave Portnoy had made a comment before the fight. He said, I like Jake. I wish well for Jake. Of course I'm taking Joshua. And then Portnoy made his point. And he said, because I believe in boxing. This isn't if I'm cheering for Jake or if I think that Joshua's more experienced or better. I believe in I believe boxing's real. If boxing is an actual sport, if it is an actual sweet science, then of course a guy that's done it 11 times cannot compete with the Olympic champion.
This wasn't really a boxing match. Jake Paul clearly had a strong sense of fear while he was in the ring, constantly trying to maintain distance and avoid getting hit. He was moving away, keeping space, then stepping in to compete, only to pull back again to protect himself. At times, he had to shift forward, engage in close contact, drop to his knees, and go into double leg positions. He was genuinely fighting for survival. You could see the instinct of someone in a high-pressure situation, not to dominate, but just to get through it. It was an incredible display of resilience, especially toward the later stages. Some of the reactions and comments I heard were confusing, but in reality it was a very competitive fight. It's also hard not to feel for Anthony Joshua, who couldn't finish it in one round. Before the fight, Dave Portnoy said he liked Jake and wished him well, but he was backing Joshua. He explained that his support wasn't personal, it was about believing in boxing as a real sport. If boxing is truly a sweet science, then naturally, someone with limited professional experience cannot match an Olympic champion. And that wraps up today's video. Make sure to stay tuned for the next one.